Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, everyone, and good evening from Indonesia, and also good morning for you all participants. Welcome to our final day. Back again with me, Lydia, as your master ceremony. So I will read the agendas for today. The first one is also the main agendas. It's about the hand-on activities you will practice in it. It's about mapping impact chain of particular hazard, will be led by Dr. Rais. And then the second one is about the final test. And last is the closing remarks by Dean of IFITB. So without further ado, let's go to the first agenda about the hands-on activities, will be led by Dr. Rais. Dr. Rais, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Lydia. Good morning, everyone. I hope you still have some spirit in the last day. And today, I hope we can have a very good activity, very active discussion of including between all of you, and then you can share your talks and your results by doing presentation, hopefully. So I will explain about the today's practice session or hands-on. So you can find the direction of the today's activity in the EduNext. I hope you can see my computer. So in day 5, click this module and then you will see this slide. So maybe I will show you this one is better maybe. Okay, so we will divide you into 4 groups, 4 groups of people, and then each group will choose a specific disaster risk, and then you will build an impact chain by you will be given some indicators, hazard indicators, vulnerability indicators, and other things. So how does this indicator lead to specific disaster? So you can try to make a map about that, and then you can try to calculate calculate a risk index, and we will give you the data, so you don't need to find data in the internet. So you just use your knowledge. How does this indicator correlated? So how do these indicators related to each other? So you can combine it later. I will explain it later in more detail. So after you calculate the risk index and you can visualize, you can display the risk index that you already calculated by using a simple visualization tool that we have already made. And then finally, you can give your presentation. So this is the group that we have tried to create. So maybe you can see your name here. Please tell us if you don't see your name. And then I ask you for the people in the top of each group to be the leader or maybe a temporary leader. So if you want to change the leader, you can discuss later in your group. Okay. So the discussion will be held in breakout rooms. So you are assigned into one of 4 breakout rooms. Then there is maybe one assistant that will accompany you, but this assistant will not lead the discussion. The discussion will be led by the leader, the group leader. Okay. So the assistant will be standby about she or he will be a timekeeper about for your discussion, and then if you have question, you can ask the assistant. Okay. And so each group must select a disaster risk topic related to one of these 6, actually only 6 hazards that you need to discuss. So because flood risk will be discussed, I will give an example about flood. So I must ask the first leader of group 1, Mr. Javier, are you here? Hello, Jeffer Orlando, are you here? No? Or maybe the second one, Francis Michael Arzu. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Francis, can you select one of these hazards? So your members will believe you. Anything you will choose.
Storm surge.
Which one?
Storm surge.
A storm surge. So for the four hazard, yeah. So okay, storm surge will be discussed by group 1. Thank you very much. Group 2 is there Baris Griffin. Are you here? No? How about the second member, Carl Francis Smith? No? Also,
Good morning. I'm here.
good morning. So, Mr. Carl, do you have an idea which one do you like to
Storm
discuss?
surge.
Also, storm surge. Okay, storm surge. Okay. Do you don't want to take another topic? Because
Strong wind.
strong wind. Oh, okay. Because storm surge related to the surge in the sea, but strong wind related to in the atmosphere. Okay, thank you. Strong wind, right? The second group. How about the third group? Which topic do you want to discuss? Anna Tucker Abrahams, are you here? Miss Anna, I think. Hello. So the science leader not respond, or maybe not come yet. Hello.
Yes, I just joined.
Okay. So we will have a discussion. So you are assigned to the third group, and we select you to be the preliminary leader. I think, yeah. So temporary leader, but you can be the group leader. So, do you want to choose which topic? So the first and the second group already choose storm surge and strong wind, and we hope you choose another topic.
Okay, earthquake.
Oh, okay. The third group is earthquake. Lydia, I'm sorry. Can you write it down? The first, second, and third group. Okay. So storm surge, strong wind, and earthquake. Thank you very much. The last group is there Gilio Comproe, Mr. Gilio. I'm sorry for my pronunciation is not good. Probably. Are you here? Or the second member, Christy? No? Miss or Mr. Compro, are you here? It seems you already.
Excuse me, Dr. Rais, apparently Mr. Compre, his mic is not working. He
Okay, okay.
appears speaking, but we cannot hear him. Maybe Miss Justice Jaida
Yeah.
Alburi, maybe.
Yeah. Miss Justice, are you here? No. How about the fourth member, Mr. Eduardo, I think. Mic still not working. Unfortunately. Okay. Okay. So you can select by typing. I prefer hurricane, cyclone. Oh, I see you. Maybe a storm surge or strong wind. Yeah. But yeah. Because hurricanes will hurricanes is a phenomenon. So the hurricanes can produce strong winds, storm surge, and heavy precipitation. So I think I suggest you to be more specific. Okay, storm surge already selected the first group, but if you really want, I think it's okay. Yeah, and okay, so the fourth group is storm surge. I think yeah, this is the most important hazard in the uh, islands country, right? Archipelago country. Okay, I think that's all, yeah, Lydia, yeah, for the group topic selection. Okay,
Okay.
you can post it into the chat if
Dr.
you.
Rais, could you please repeat for the group number 3?
Group number 3, I think earthquake,
Earthquake.
isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, I think earthquake.
Okay, so group number 1 is strong surge. Number 2 is strong wind.
Mhm.
The third is earthquake. And the fourth, it's also strong surge.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the how to say, yeah, the selections of the topic. Yeah. So before starting the discussion, I will tell you about the direction, what you need to discuss, what you need to perform. Okay. So to build an impact chain, actually there are many theories, many formulation related to the risk calculation. The simple one is such as hazard times vulnerability divided by capacity, right? But for today's we'll have a discussion based on a guidebook published by GIZ. So from this book, yeah, later you will need to identify some indicators related to hazard, exposure, vulnerability related to your topic. And this is the example of impact chain for the flood event. So the left one, the blue one, is the box for hazard indicators. For this example, only one hazard indicator, but it is possible there are more than one indicator. And then in the vulnerability box, there are two groups. One is sensitivity and the other is adaptive capacity. Here in this example, there are many sensitivity factors and adaptive capacity factors. So these indicators will combine with the hazard and will result some impact. For example, extreme rainfall combined with the impermeable surfaces, so lack of infiltration will result in extreme runoff, and then there will be severe storm flow or discharge, and then there will be exit capacity of the canals or something dam, and there will be maybe some collapse in infrastructure, hydrological infrastructure, and there will be flooding from the river. And finally, the final risk is the loss of life and economical loss due to river flood. But also there is some exposure if there is a population or maybe other exposure indicators. It's up to you to select. There's another indicator such as GDP per country, and then other factors that will be given. So you can review it again about this impact chain. We already give you example. And so the first task is you need to go to this link. You can select it and then wait a minute. So in this directory, you will see 4 folders. Yeah, group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. In the first group, there is at each folder there are 2 files, impact chain.pptx and risk assessment.xlsx. Yeah, so make sure these 2 files are already in your directory, and then wait a minute, and then you need to identify which indicators are relevant to your topic. So see the list of indicator in this file, risk assessment. So open risk assessment, and then there are 3 or 4 sheets, and then check the first one, indicator list, and there are many hazard indicators and other indicators, but we don't mention it whether it is flood related indicators or wind related indicators or other things. So you need to select it. So for now, please we limit the data or the indicators that are available only in this slide, but later after this practice, you can try it at your own by using your own indicators, or maybe reducing or adding more indicators. So every indicators have data that we already put here, but later I will explain it. Later. So so please identify which is a hazard and vulnerability and exposure indicators, and place the indicators in the designated space in Google Slides. So you can collaborate, you can try to work together to develop your impact chain. So we already give you this file. So please write your title, impact chain of what, and then group which the number of your group, and then this is the example of impact chain, and please build your impact chain here. For example, earthquake. What is the hazard of earthquake from the list of indicators, and then what is the vulnerability? Maybe the structure of building or something, or maybe soil condition. It's up to you to select. Exposure, maybe population or economic exposure or other thing. You can try to map your ideas. And finally, if you complete the impact chain, and then that's you finish your first task. And then after that, your second task is by doing some calculation. Actually, this is quite simple. So you already select what the indicators that you want to investigate, and then please open this file again, risk assessment file, this the file like Microsoft Excel. And first I want to tell you about this one. The real in this sheet, this show the data, but actually from the F column to the last column, it is not the actual data. But we collect the actual data at column C, D, and E, the data about cost, population, and GDP. So the point of today practice, the purpose is we want to share about how to calculate the risk. So the accuracy of the risk depends on the quality of the data. So if you want to change it later by your own data, it is also possible. So to calculate the risk index, we need to normalize this, and we already did that. So you will need only use this data from column C to column Z. This is the data that are already normalized based on minimum and maximum range. So you can put the what kind of indicators that you already determine in impact chain, put it into this column. Yeah, so this is related to hazard index. What kind of parameters that are used to build the hazard index, and then what kind of parameters or indicators to build the vulnerability index. Just copy paste from this sheet, yeah, the normalized sheet. Copy paste into here. If you want to reduce or if you want to add some columns, you can do it. And please note that for capacity, so capacity will reduce the risk, right? So we need to inverse it. We need to change the value. So for example, the index is 0.0 6.7 for the dam influence. So because the number of dam actually reducing the flood risk, so we change the formula, so it is 1 minus capacity. So but if you only have a 2 capacity here, you don't need to change the formula. So you just copy paste the file, the indicators. So finally you can build vulnerability index, and the same method is applied to exposure index. And then finally you can perform a risk calculation by combining the hazard index, vulnerability index, exposure index, and calculate the risk. You can see the formula here, and then normalize it, and finally classify into what we call the levels or the risk level that are familiar to society. So society only know usually only know binary or integer index such 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need to convert it from decimal value to integer value like this, and then that's it for risk calculation. If you already got the risk index, then that's it. You finish the second test. So after you get the risk index, you can put it into this website, copy paste into this column. For example, this one that I already find, and then copy paste here, and then submit your calculation, and voila, you will see the distribution of country-based risk analysis in your regions. So yeah, actually this kind of approach can be used for district-based or provincial-based, yeah, depend on your data. But for today's practice, we only demonstrate the country level analysis. Now that's all for guidance for today's practice. And after you finish that, please present your finding. So hopefully we can finish it at 10, but if you are not finished, maybe we will check the progress, and maybe you can continue later at your home, but we will see, we will monitor your progress later, whether the presentation is possible or not today. I think that's all. So is there any question from all of you?
Yes. Can you take us through one indicator? Do the copy and paste over into the analysis sheet and normalize from the normalized sheet to the analysis sheet, and take us through just for one indicator so I can have a better understanding. Thank you.
Yeah, just copy paste, so you don't need to find more data. So is there any question, or maybe I do not get your question? So okay, so do you understand about the assignment?
I understand what hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I agree with her as well. Can we just see a run through of how to do the entire process so that we can know how best to do it? Just one example.
Example. Okay, so you want me to demonstrate how to calculate it?
Exactly, yes.
Oh,
that's correct.
okay. Thank you. So so this is the flood hazard, flood impact chain that I have, yeah. So actually I modify it. So the hazard component, there are 2 hazard component here, extreme rainfall and antecedent rainfall. So antecedent rainfall is the rainfall amounts that happen before the flood event. So 1 week rainfall that play a role in the maybe soil, how to say, saturity, something like that. And then so there are 2 hazards here. So I copy paste the extreme rainfall from this one. So I find extreme rainfall. So if you cannot read properly, just expand the row and then copy paste this one into this analysis part, paste here. And then for the second hazard indicator, there is antecedent rainfall, copy paste to here, paste. So because this column is only this hazard index calculation need only two indicators, so we don't need to change. You don't need to change the formula. But if it is only one, so you can try to delete this column, delete it, and so the formula will be, maybe there is some error, and you can change it to be like this, and the wake should be changed into 1. So basically the same value applied, right? The same value applied. So that's it. And if you, for example, want to have more than 2 components, 2 indicators, you need to add one more parameter, maybe, I don't know, yeah, some indicators, and then you need to put wake, additional wake here, maybe make it simple. So 1 divided by third, so 0.33, 0.33, 0.33, something like this, and then change or modify the formula a little bit. So like this, plus maybe E5, E3 or something like this. Nah, so you get the new combined index. So this is new indicator. And then finally you get your hazard index. So that's all for the calculation, and also for modification if you need add or reduce the column. And then similar approach can be used for exposure. But for the vulnerability index, because there are 2 components, sensitivity and capacity. For this one, for this example, there are a ratio of impermeable surface for flood event and also number of them here. And I try to add another one, number of shelter. So 2 capacity factors and 1 sensitivity indicators, and we try to make it balanced for each representative. So 0.5 wake for sensitivity and a total of 0.5 for capacity, and we divide into 2, only a quarter, yeah, right? And then for the formulation, here is the formulation for sensitivity, and this one is the formulation for capacity. Okay, that use this information, the wake, and then the indicator value. And the similar approach used for vulnerability index that is simply to normalize this combination index. I think that's all. And finally, you can combine vulnerability, exposure, and hazard into this column, and it automatically, so you don't need to worry about that, and just copy paste it into the website. So is that become more clear? Is there any more question?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Nice to hear that. So is there any question, please? So in case you want to add data here, but I don't recommend it. If you want to add more data, just add one column in the to say one column. Yeah, this one, and you can make a dummy data. I mean, just not actual data, but you need this parameter, you need this indicator. Just write it and then calculate the normalization by yourself, and then put it into the analysis part if you want to add indicators. Okay.
Mr. Rice.
Yes.
One question. My
Please.
English is not very good looking, but I try. You need in the finish the exercise, 4 results of one for group or one for participant. You need one.
Yeah, okay. One for group. So please coordinate. Maybe you can assign someone focus on the calculation, someone focus on the impact chain design. So you can collaborate. You can define the task, split the task. So only one output, one group. You don't need by yourself. You don't need to do per person. Okay, is that clear?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So it's already 9:30 here. So shall we start the discussion? So Bu Niken, Miss Niken, can you open the breakout rooms? So the room already open. So please join to your room and perform the assignment. So I hope you have a fruitful discussion between you, and then we can discuss more later. Okay, group 3 on already joined. Group 4 only 5 people. On group 3, yeah, group 1 and group 2 already entered. Okay, an assistant, if you if possible, please join to also the group that you already assigned.
Nikan, please transfer me to group 3 again. I switched devices. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Dr. Rais,
I think we
hear
need
me?
to wait. Hello, hello. Maybe
Oh, okay.
some participants still waiting.
All right.
I don't know. Still 11 people here, right?
Exactly. It's only 11 people.
Breakout room should be closed. Okay. Maybe Bu Niken, can you help with the closing breakout room?
Yes, Dr. Rais and Miss Lydia, I already closed it, but the Zoom has a policy that it takes 60 seconds for participants to automatically leave, but it's already 0 seconds, so I think they will automatically leave the room. Yeah, they are already returned to the main virtual room.
Okay. Yeah, Lydia, I think this agenda should be presentation. We will get a feedback from participant. Okay.
All right. Okay, we have 41 people right now. So welcome back to the main room. So Dr. Rais, could you please explain us what is the next agenda? Will we go to the final
Okay.
test or there's a
Okay.
presentation?
We still have time for a discussion. We would like to ask about the progress, what happened during discussion, and I saw some group already finished, and some groups are have intense discussion about the impact change, and I think that's good, and they go into detail. So maybe we would like to hear from you, all of you, that have a discussion. Now we have Dr. Irwin Melano, who give the first presentation, the dean of faculty, and also maybe Bu Mutiara, yeah, Dr. Mutiara, I think the vice dean, and maybe some other teachers that join with us. So, okay, maybe we'd like to hear from group 1. Is there any representative from group 1 who would like to share about the progress, or maybe you already finished in making the impact chain and also the risk calculation? Please.
Okay, we have Karim Sabir raising the hand. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Sabir.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Crystal clear?
Shall I share my screen?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So just quickly, this is group 1, our impact chain with storm surge. So following the example, we had some discussion. Well, first of all, we kept it quite simple for the purposes of not editing the sheet too much, the calculations.
Maybe you can enlarge the slide to make it a full screen. Maybe the font is too. There is a button, slideshow button. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so we stuck to 2 hazards and 3 vulnerability factors. So we looked at extreme wind, which would have been associated with storm surge, and wave height, even though they're quite similar, I guess. We also, and in the vulnerability aspects that we looked at was coastline length, building structure. We had some discussion on whether it referred to the strength of the building. So we put that as an adaptive capacity factor. And then we also chose the number of shelters as an adaptive capacity factor on the right side. The exposure element, we just stuck to population. So in the impacts discussion in the middle, we focused on naturally coastal flooding as a result of storm surge. And that impact chain is as follows. Population in coastal areas would be displaced. We would have damage to coastal infrastructure. And the result of both of those would be a disruption of commerce in low-lying coastal areas. and also a disruption of port services, either by port damage or disruption of operations of ports, of seaports, possibly airports as well, if in a low-lying area. And the net result or the risk would be loss of life and economical losses. So this was our very simple impact chain. Some of the other impacts that we considered in the lower right side of the screen, you would see damage to utilities, salt water intrusion for groundwater as sea level rises and as waves overtop the land, and also crop and soil damage due to the salt water. And these three are very real impacts for low-lying areas in the Caribbean, along with the actual inundation of the land and the displacement of populations. So I think these three would contribute more to GDP losses rather than losses of life. So we did the calculations in the Excel sheet, and we took those risk scores and displayed them here. So you can see based on only two variables, we can see the level of risk across SICA and CARICOM. So if I left out anything important, my other members can jump in. But only thing left for me to say would be thank you to the team members. We were quite efficient and we had quite a nice discussion. Thank you.
All right. At first, maybe if there is any comment from Dr. Irwin. Hello, doctor. Can you hear me?
Yes. Well, I'm very impressed with the progress and the result that been achieved by the first presentations, and then it clearly shows the area with high risk, and then as well as the possibility damage to the infrastructures, loss of lives, and also economic disruptions. I don't have any further comments, Lydia, but I really appreciated the result and achievement made by the first presentations.
All right. So maybe we can hear from Dr. Rais first for that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Lydia. So yeah, I'm also appreciated with group one. And yeah, just some note, some data actually are not actual data. So we only give some of the example how to process the data, what is the indicator. The point is what is the indicators, and the group one already presented the flow of impact chain that results in the losses of economic, maybe also of life. So if you want to develop this impact chain and develop the indicators, you can use your own data and then we'll recalculate the risk again. So, and if you have more detailed data, maybe district level or provincial level, you can make a more detailed analysis by similar approach. I think that's all. Yeah, thank you.
All right, so it will be a good example for other groups also. And I think we still have time for the next group. So welcome to the stage for the second group.
Good morning again.
Morning.
Hello.
I was assigned as the leader, but I'm having a little difficulty manipulating the system. If I can ask Ms. Tash, because she really took the lead in this. Tash, do you mind presenting on our behalf?
I am so sorry. I'm not prepared to present, but can I just share the screen and you can go ahead? But I must start by saying we have not completed the assignment. We started and we were working on the impact chain, but we ran out of time as we were adding the information to the risk assessment form. So we did not get to complete the adding it to the calculating the risk of each country and adding it to the map. So what we add so far was the analysis. We calculated based on two hazards, strong winds and extreme rainfalls, which oftentimes accompany strong winds. And then we looked at two sensitivities, wave height and tide range, and capacity on building structure and number of shelters. But we added the second sensitivity, so we've yet to fully incorporate or change the formula based on the added column. So that's how far we got before we can calculate the risk for each country, unfortunately.
All right. Could you please back again to the impact chain? Actually, we cannot see it clearly. Maybe you can maximize it.
Maybe you can click a slideshow button in the top right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the second group with strong winds. Let's go again to our commentator. Maybe now for Mr. Rice.
Okay, so this is actually very interesting, and we appreciate your efforts and to discuss, focusly discuss on the impact chain, and we see so many parameters, indicators, especially in vulnerability group, because in the example I only show only two, or sensitivity and adaptive capacity. Anyway, actually I went to your group, right, and I asked why extreme rainfall put in the vulnerability, and I think again it is a strong wind. So if there is heavy rainfall, and it might increase the sea level, maybe something, and then also cause some more disruption in addition to the wind, right? So or maybe you can explain again about this, the flow of impact. Maybe you can re-explain, or maybe tell us about this flow of impact that you already write.
Okay. So in coming up with impacts, we try to make it a group effort. So we're thinking about those from practical and personal experience, those impacts we've experienced in our individual countries. So we look at the impact on the building structure. We look at infrastructural impacts and disruption to basic services. At one point, we wanted to keep those together, but then there are services that basic services that are interrupted that do not fall under infrastructure. But definitely we looked at rainfall because rainfall in especially the Caribbean where I'm from accompanies strong wind or vice versa. And its combined impact on agriculture and biodiversity of small island developing states, etc.
I see.
If there's anything I'm missing, my colleagues, my group members are free to contribute at this time.
Yeah, I only want to ask this one. The rainfall is here, so there's an arrow leading from building structure. So this imply building structure cause rainfall. So this maybe I think that's just a string one, I think.
No, the arrows. We didn't touch the arrows. We just added the float boxes.
I see.
Unfortunately, we didn't create the arrows.
I see. So you have many parameters, and if you want to finish the risk, yeah, maybe you need more efforts to complete the risk index, yeah. So I think
Yes,
this very comprehensive the list of indicators, yeah. Okay, thank you.
All right. So what is in your mind, Dr. Irwin?
Well, this is very interesting, and as mentioned by Dr. Rais, the second group tried to put as realistic as possible all the informations from sensitivity and also adaptive capacity, and also try to make more realistic of the impacts. But for me, it's hard to understand the reasons why the group 2 needs to put the rainfall on the impacts. I don't know, maybe you have a very good reason based on your own experience, but in short, I think it's a very interesting and a good impact change, and putting all the informations, but of course we need a lot of data to do the calculations. The time is too short, but I clearly understand that you try your best to calculate the risk from hazard, impacts, vulnerability, and exposures. Thank you.
All right. So I think it was really wonderful to see a few of your things, but we are so sorry that we cannot see all of yours, and we need to go to the next session.
I'm sorry, Lydia. Maybe we still have time, I think, yeah. So we will give 5 minutes each for presentation from group 3 and group 4.
Okay, that's nice. Really nice to hear that. So let's go to the third group. Welcome.
Thank you. Alfred, I'm going to ask you to share the flow diagram, please.
All right, I'm doing it now.
Oh, maybe put in presentation mode. Yeah.
Okay, it's impressive.
Slideshow mode, please. Thanks. Okay, so for our group, our hazard was earthquake. And what we did was we identified one of the countries. So we selected Haiti as our country. So all the related impacts is in relation to Haiti. So of course the hazard is earthquake, but we also in the hazard column using the indicator list, we extracted those from the indicator list that are related to earthquake and added them here to the box in blue. So we have land use.
Is it possible to show on the presentations mode so we can see your slides bigger?
Alfredo, there's a symbol at the bottom of your screen, bottom right.
This one.
Mode.
This one.
No. Yes, that's one, right.
I'm sorry, I don't find the bottom to do it bigger. Just a second.
Did you see my arrow in the bottom left?
The right button. In the right button.
Top. Yeah, I'm sorry. Right bottom.
Lower right.
Lower right. This one.
Yeah, no, you're not there. Down to the bottom of your screen.
All right. Okay, May. Do you know any combination of the to this speaker? Right.
Or you can just use a Zoom feature.
Yeah, already. I don't. Sorry.
Just press F5.
Do you see?
Thank you. So what we did was we used the indicators for hazard. We looked at the parameters and we added those parameters as well in the hazard box here in blue. As I said, we selected Haiti. So we all based on memory and information we know for the impacts in Haiti. And then we outlined the different impacts here. So we have collapsed buildings, impacts in livelihoods, economic loss. Their critical infrastructure was damaged, transportation, disruption to water, social services, electricity. We also looked at the soil type. So what we did in the linkages was to link the indicators for the hazard category to the impacts. So for example, soil type was linked to liquefaction, wave height was linked to tsunami, land use was also linked to the different impacts in livelihoods and social services and critical facilities. Moving over now to exposure, that's below hazard. The exposure listed here is what the parameters were that were provided in Excel. So we identified those and we have buildings, the number of dams, the watershed size, the coastline length of roads and others as factors of exposure. Now, when looking at the vulnerability in the parameters, we separated population, the gross domestic product, your GDP, and building structures as sensitive features related to the hazard itself. And then for adaptive capacity, the parameters provided, only one was there, the number of shelters. So in green, what we added here are 2 additional adaptive capacities. However, for the purposes of the Excel, we did not add those additional 2 to the formula because we didn't want to deal with the numbers in terms of the calculation. So but we just wanted to show that we were also considering other adaptive capacities in relation to the hazard, search and rescue, presence of evacuation routes. So Alfredo, if you will stop sharing, I'll now share my screen with Excel. We're not finished with our calculation, but let me just quickly show you where we are. Are you seeing my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So as I told you before, we color coded the indicators for sensitivity, capacity, and exposure. And that's how we were able to bring that over from our flow chart into the different cells. So I'm moving over now to normalized. You see here that we've selected Haiti, and then the areas in blue are the indicators that are related to earthquake. So you have the full list there. So the blue highlights are for the indicators that are related to the hazards that was just shared in the flow diagram. And then we copied over, these columns were copied over into the analysis column. We're not finished in terms of the calculations, but we've now added. So for hazard, we've added soil holding water capacity, historical tsunami events, land use, peak ground acceleration, and wave height as our hazard parameters. And then for vulnerability index, we've added population, GDP, building structure. For capacity, ignore dams. Let me just hide that column. So for capacity, we have the number of shelters here. And I think Rais had told us that the formula will automatically change once we're finished. But as you see here, we're not finished in adding it going across. So we're not finished. So this is where we are. And then of course, the risk factor here, based on the data we've plugged in so far, I'm assuming it's a 3 here. I'm not sure if it has changed because I didn't delete the other columns, I only hide them. I know if I delete it, it will change the formula. I'll get an error message and then I'll have to reformulate at the top here. But I didn't do that. I just hid the columns for now. So we're not finished. So this is how far we got.
All right. Thank you so much, Anna. It was really impressive. So I cannot hear what the professional said about that. Maybe if you don't mind, you can still share your screen about the chain. Could you please?
This one or the flow chart?
The flow chart.
Oh, the flow chart. Okay, Alfredo.
Yeah, maybe the flow chart first. Okay. So tell me what you got, Dr. Irwan.
Well, very impressive presentation and explanations. You put a lot of effort to combine the all the hazard informations, the impact, vulnerability, and exposures. I just have a short questions. Do you have any particular reasons why you put land use and soil type as a hazard? Since definitions of hazard is a process or phenomena that may cause loss of life or social and economic disruption. So do you have any particular reasons based on your experience, maybe the reason why you put land use and as well as soil types as a hazard?
Because for here, maybe it belongs in exposure more so, based on your question. So the thinking was, given the soil type, the impacts of the earthquake may be more devastating. If you have alluvium soil type, you're more prone to liquefaction. So that's kind of one of the reasons for land use, the type of land use, if it's agricultural or high density housing, the exposure is greater. But you're right, maybe those two belong maybe more in the exposure column and the vulnerability sensitivity area. So yeah, but that was the thinking at the time. But we can make that correction.
Okay, yes, I clearly understand the reasons. Yeah, that certain type of soil may amplify the effects of the earthquakes, ground shakings. But I think, in my opinion, it's better to put soil type and land use as part of the vulnerability rather as a part of hazard.
Okay.
And but anyway, I'm very impressed with all the efforts that you already done together with your team to put all the informations into this impact chains maps. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Doctor, for the addition. So sure, from Dr. Rais too.
Just a short comment. I'm really appreciate for you who have think more. Yeah, I mean, we already give you some parameters, but you think again and add more indicators, and it becomes more comprehensive, I think. Yeah, I'm surprised. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So let's go to the last group. Welcome, group 4. Anyone can hear me from group 4? All right. We can see your screen, but I cannot hear anything.
Yes, we didn't finish our assignment because we're just having the discussion or what we have to put where, but we have gone to this. This is the only, yes.
Maybe could you please maximize or in slideshow mode? I think you can use that icon. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Go on.
This is what we have done so far.
Maybe could you please tell us some stories about that?
For the hazard tidal range, sea level rise, slope angle, land use, topographic, wave heights. For the impact, we have strong winds, damage to coastal habitats, damage to crops, floods, damage infrastructure, threat of death by drowning, property loss, erosion of beaches. Extreme winds can damage homes and cause displacement. Sensitivity, we have for the building structure, the GDP, and as adaptive capacity, we have numbers of dams, shelters, communication to the public, and the exposure of numbers of building, population, length of road, and the length of the coastal line. That we got.
All right. So what about the calculation?
We didn't come to that because we have some problem with to go to the other side, the slides, to do the calculation.
All right. All right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Let's hear from Dr. Irwin first.
Well, thank you. Very nice explanations. Although you haven't finished all the calculations, but I can see the idea and the concept. And well, I just have short comments that usually we put the information related with the topographics, bathymetries, not in hazard part because they are not the source of bathymetry, and topography is not the source of disasters. So in my opinion, it's better to put the information of topography and bathymetry as a part of the sensitivity. And also the slope, the land use, it is something that's already there. So we can change anything, or it is part of our country. So it is not the hazard. So hazard is, as I mentioned earlier, the hazard is a process or the phenomena or maybe the human activity that may cause loss of life, injuries, property damage, and so on. So I think better if you move this the information from hazard into the sensitivity. In terms of the exposure, I think it's very interesting that you put the length of the road as a part of the exposure. I think it's a very good idea. You also put the buildings, populations, that's very good. And length of the coastline as well. So it's a very good idea. Maybe if you have more time, you can do the calculations then, so you can see the visualizations of the risk and comparisons of the risk calculation from one country to another. Thank you. Very good job.
Thank you. Okay, next.
Thank you.
How about you, Dr. Rais?
Okay, thank you, Lydia, and thank you, Group 4. So yeah, I agree with Dr. Irwan. Hazard is for me it's a component that is very can change rapidly. So land use and topography, it is something that is maybe quite static and very constant. But for sea level rise and tidal range, and extreme winds, they are very rapidly change. So yeah, that can be a hazard. That they can be classified as hazards. So yeah, we understand that the time is very short. Yeah, and unfortunately, maybe some of you still need time. So maybe we can give opportunity for you to finish. Yeah, maybe if you want, we can give you for 1 week. Yeah, and maybe the details of how to continue this task and so that we can see the final, or you can revise it according to the comments, and maybe after some evaluation you can improve this how to say, impact chain and also calculation. Maybe next week we will receive a short reports maybe about the impact chain. So because you already do this, and it is very how to say, wasteful if you cannot, if you not finish it. So because you already think many things, so yeah, let's finish that. I think that's my suggestion. And I think that's all. Anyway, I'm very grateful and very appreciate all of participant efforts on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all. It's really happy to see all of your things and thoughts about that. It's really interesting and important. I hope you can hear and take note from the doctors or the suggestion and addition, so it will make you better. So it's really, we can use the hashtag rebuild back better for all your job and task. So let's move to another session. We have a change of agendas. Our second agenda is not be a final task, but it will be a closing remarks from Dr. Irwan. So Dr. Irwan.
But the final test still be conducted later.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just reminder.
Okay, so okay, Dr. Irwan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lydia. Good evening from Bandung. Bandung is quite cold now, 20 degree, 94% humidity, and we have a very short big rain this afternoon. And good morning to all distinguished participants, excellencies, and ladies and gentlemen. Today, I'm privileged and honored to speak before you in this online training course. First of all, I would like to take advantage of this opportunity to express my deep thanks to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, NAM CSSTC, Honorable Representative of CARICOM Secretariats. The trainings provide us with a very useful platform to exchange information, ideas, experience, and lessons learned in our own disaster management work in our respective countries. During these past 5 days, we have generated a wealth of informations. Experience in these trainings, we have been able to discuss basic concepts of hazard, risk, warning system, and method for implementing the disaster risk reductions. I have much confidence that all participants can surely apply the knowledge from this training for disaster risk reductions to their own country. Nevertheless, we must remember that sometimes the impact of a disaster is beyond the capacities and capabilities of a country to deal with. So I think that the strengthening of cooperations and good coordinations among CARICOM SICA members countries and also Indonesia are indeed important and necessary. Once again, I would like to extend our deep gratitude to the CARICOM SICA members countries, NAM, CSSTC, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, BMKG, BNPB, and all the committee members and lecturers of this training for their supports to this successful and fruitful online trainings. I look forward to meeting you offline in Bandung and Jakarta during the disaster training next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Irwan. So yeah, you're welcome. We are really waiting you to meet in person in Indonesia, and I hope you can enjoy and a lot of things, a lot of knowledge from this training online course. So Dr. Rais, what about now? Let's go to the final session.
Yeah, actually, I would like to remind you, and we have final test, and you can do it by yourself by clicking exam button in EduNext. So please press exams here and then press final test. So you can press the button now, and then it same with the preliminary test. You have 15 minutes and to complete the test. So yeah, please complete it, and we will check the score later. I think that's all. The closing was done by Dr. Irwin. So for me, thank you very much for participating this opportunity, and from my point of view, and if there is some mistake or some miscommunication from me, I'm very sorry. We are very sorry, but we hope we can still see you again later. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Rais, and welcome to the final test. This is your last test, and okay, maybe we can take a picture first in the end of the session.
Oh yeah, nice idea.
Okay, would you mind to open your camera? Okay. Okay. Let's wait. Okay. Hello, Anna. Could you please open your camera?
I was just telling you, I'm on my desktop at work today and not the laptop, so I have no camera today. I'm sorry.
All right. All right. Okay. So, everybody here in the first slide. Okay. I will count until 3. Hold your smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Second slide as well. 1, 2, 3. It's really nice to see you. I think it's really a good morning in your region. Okay, but it's really not really dark night in here. So yeah. So in the last word, I would like to say thank you, and we're really waiting for you all, and I hope you can enjoy and you can take advantage from here. That's all. Have a good day and enjoy the final test. Thank you.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.